Hey, welcome. So today we're going to dig into one of the most classic frameworks in the business world, the McKinsey 7S model. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sounds a little dry, maybe something out of a textbook. But it actually has this really fascinating, very human story behind it. It's all about how getting your people, your plans, and your processes to actually talk to each other is the real secret sauce to making anything work.
All right, so to really get this, we got to jump in the time machine and head back to the late 1970s. The business world was hitting a wall, a really big one, and it all started with this one simple but kind of radical idea. This quote right here from the article that first dropped the 7S model in the world was a total bombshell. See, at the time, everyone thought of companies as these giant machines. If something was broken, well, you just mess with the org chart or write a new plan. This simple sentence completely challenged that entire way of thinking. I mean, just imagine trying to fix a super complex engine with only a hammer and a wrench. That's pretty much what businesses were doing. Their only tools were, let's come up with a new strategy, or let's shuffle the boxes on the org chart. Tom Peters, one of the guys behind the model, even said this is only a slight exaggeration. This whole charts and boxes approach was the answer to literally every single problem. And this was the question that was keeping McKinsey's top boss, Ron Daniel, up at night. He was seeing all these brilliant, super clever strategies get cooked up in boardrooms, only to completely fall apart the second they tried to actually implement them. He just knew something was missing from the equation. And that single question kicked off a huge search for a better way to understand how organizations really work. So how'd they find the answer? Well, it wasn't in some stuffy boardroom, that's for sure. It was through this kind of epic worldwide quest that went way beyond the typical business playbook. The job landed on the desk of a young Tom Peters. Now, his background was in human behavior, not corporate flowcharts, which was perfect. He basically went on this grand tour, studying everything, from how work groups manage themselves on massive supertankers to the leadership secrets of Nobel laureates. He was on the hunt for the hidden gears that actually make an organization tick. And the big breakthrough? It came during what Peters jokingly called a séance in San Francisco. One of his collaborators, a guy named Tony Athos, insisted that whatever model they came up with, it had to be alliterative. All the key elements had to start with the letter S. At first, Peters thought it sounded kind of silly, juvenile, but later he admitted it was a stroke of genius. That one simple trip made the framework so memorable, so sticky, that here we are, decades later, still talking about it. And what all that searching led to was this crucial insight. A successful organization isn't just about the org chart. Nope. It's about balancing two very different kinds of forces. The tangible stuff you can see and point to, and the squishier, intangible stuff you can't. Okay, so first you've got the hard S's. This is the stuff that's easy to draw on a whiteboard, right? Your strategy, your organizational structure, and your systems. Managers love this stuff because it feels solid, you can point to it. But here's the game changer. The soft S's. This is the human side of the whole operation. We're talking about the unique skills the company is amazing at, the actual staff and all their talent, the leadership style that sets the tone for everyone, and right at the very heart of it all, the organization's shared values. And this brings us to what is maybe the single most important idea to come out of this whole model. It sounds like a riddle, but it holds a deep, deep truth about how businesses really work. So what does that even mean? It means that the hard stuff, the plans, the charts, the numbers, it's surprisingly flimsy. It can change in a single meeting. The truly hard part, the stuff that's the real bedrock of a company, the stuff that's incredibly difficult to build and even harder to change, is the soft stuff. It's the culture, the values, the people. Companies almost never fail because the spreadsheet was wrong. They fail because they ignored the human element. Lou Gerstner, the guy who famously turned around IBM, said it perfectly. Culture isn't just one aspect of the game, it is the game. But here's the thing. The model isn't just a laundry list of 7 things to think about. Its real magic, its real power, comes from understanding how all of these things are connected. Think of the 7S model like a spider web. You've got all 7 elements connected, with your shared values sitting right there in the middle, anchoring everything. Now, if you go and you pull on one thread, say you change your strategy, the whole web starts to vibrate. You absolutely cannot change one S without affecting all the others. And that is why this model is such an amazing diagnostic tool. Its whole purpose is to make you ask, are our S's working together in harmony, or are they pulling in completely different directions?
An effective organization is one where the strategy, structure, systems, skills, staff, style, and values are all aligned, all reinforcing each other. That misalignment, that's where all those brilliant strategies go to die. So, how does a model that was born in the 70s still help businesses today? Well, let's look at a really quick example of what happens when these 7 elements get all out of whack. Okay, picture a startup in its early days. When they're small, everything just clicks. Their flat structure and their all-hands-on-deck chaotic style, it's perfectly aligned with their strategy to just grab market share as fast as possible. But then they grow. And suddenly, that old strategy doesn't work so well anymore. That democratic, chaotic style that used to be a strength, now it's just creating problems. They realize they don't have the managerial skills they need. And that amazing sense of teamwork from the early days, well, it's kind of gone. The strategies are totally out of sync, and the company starts to stumble. And that's exactly why the 7S framework is still so relevant. It's a timeless checklist for managing any big change. I mean, whether you're going through a massive digital transformation, merging with another company, or just trying to get better, it forces you to look at the whole picture. Huge companies like General Electric and Coca-Cola have used this very framework to steer them through massive organizational shifts. So what's the big takeaway here? Success isn't just about having a brilliant plan on paper. It's about creating real harmony between your plans, your processes, and, most importantly, your people. And that really brings us to one final question for you to think about. When you look at your own organization, your own team, which S is the one that's maybe just a little bit out of tune?